Food addiction, what it is, causes, and how to win. So, what is food addiction? This can be classified as an involuntary need to compulsively eat food. Now, food manufacturers work very hard to make us addicted to their product. I've talked about this many times. Like, real food is not addictive. When you take something in the lab and chemically alter and add all these types of things, it's very easy to get addicted. So, it's not even necessarily our fault. And the more we eat of the product, the more money they obviously make. It's not that they're bad people, it's just kind of the business model. It's not ethical, of course, but until we get into a place where we actually put people in front of profits, it's not really going to change. It's very difficult to change the system from the top-down approach. Like, the regulatory agencies are all bought off. They don't really do their job properly. The FDA, for example, they're funded by big food. And changing the system from a bottom-up approach, like starting with us, that's difficult as well because it's much more hard to get the word out that way. So what are the actual causes of food addiction? Well, there are many causes. Like, how do we know that, we're eating processed food and we can kind of laugh about it, or we actually have a serious problem here? Like I said, the reality is that ultra-processed food is addictive by nature. So it really doesn't take much for us to become addicted. The question is to what degree. So addiction has its roots in the emotional realm as well. Like, are we trying to suppress something with food? I feel like that's pretty often the case. Like, it's often unconscious. Like, we don't understand what we're dealing with, and we may be using food, drugs, porn, whatever it is. We may be avoiding past trauma, past painful events, experiences, whatever. Which is why emotional healing is so important. Getting to the root of whatever we have been experiencing. Because we can power our way through, but it really does not work in the long run. Or we may just use something as a coping mechanism just to kind of deal with the day to day. The reality is we know we have a problem when it's actually harming us, but we feel that we have no control over it. Another thing I'll add is, like, when we look at the studies on sugar, we know that it is actually the most addictive substance out there. Like, we compare it to cocaine. Like, there's rat studies that compare sugar to cocaine, and the rats would much rather go for the sugar. The thing is that we don't have to do much to get it because sugar is everywhere, right? But it's a lot harder to get the drug. When we have a negative habit, it's important to replace it with something of greater or equal value. Like, our brain is either running from pain or seeking rewards. Adding more positive habits in our life, such as exercise and meditation and service, will help us see ourselves in a different light and make better decisions. Like, when we actually build ourselves up with all these positive habits, it's much more easy to see what we don't want and how to change it. I mean, that's what I did when I had certain things. I would just kind of work on myself, like, make it easier to change. Like, make yourself stronger so that problem is really no longer a problem. You just kind of walk away. Understand your worth and that you matter. Go for what is yours at the end of the day. Like, our current circumstances do not have to dictate our future reality. Some strategies that are simple are just like, don't keep things in the house, right? Like, it does not take willpower to avoid something that's not really there, Like, you don't have to resist it if it's not even there. And eventually you get to the point where you can be around it and it doesn't even bother you anymore. Like, you don't have an urge to have it. Like, if I see a donut, I see something that's not even food. Like, my body does not even recognize it. It takes me zero willpower if I'm around a donut to resist it, because it's part of my identity at this point. The last section to talk about here is becoming the greatest version of you. Now, food addiction can be a hard thing to deal with, perhaps even run your life. But there are indeed strategies that can be put into play to overcome this. And there is hope. At the end of the day, we must do this if you want to be the greatest version of us and really serve the community. When we have things like this that are holding us back, we're not able to serve at our fullest capacity. Understand the world needs us and that we are wanted. This is going to be a requirement that we overcome obstacles, and they are all designed to become the greatest version of you. Wake up, my friend. Alright, everyone. Thank you for tuning into the show. For more, you can head over to anthonygastella.com for articles, coaching, and other free resources. Also, if you can, leave a review for the show, let people know what you think, and I would appreciate that so much. Support the mission of freedom. Thanks for being on this mission with me, and I promise to give you more powerful, empowering, great content to help transform your life. Thanks for tuning in.